Hello and welcome to Investing Confidential. I'm going to take a little break from talking about the markets and I'm going to talk about TikTok. Yep, I'm going to talk about the TikTok ban. I'm going to talk about the TikTok for sale because I've got a unique take on it. I think it's pretty unique. And because I think what's going on is an absolute travesty and also a false flag operation. And I'm going to explain that. Uh, it's a different take on the whole TikTok story. Please like it. If you like it, please pass it on. If you think it's unique, because I think this type of view should be out there in the public square, because I think nobody's talking about this. So let's talk about TikTok. I'm not a frequent user, but my company, we have numerous TikTok accounts. We have about, I don't know, about 5, 6 TikTok accounts, 3 in English. In different like Portuguese, Spanish. So I'm very familiar with the app. I'm very familiar how powerful the app is. And look at the reality of TikTok. So TikTok or ByteDance was founded by Zhang Yiming in 2012. It's the fastest growing app to 1 billion users ever. People are focused on the algorithm, but you have to understand the algorithm was the key in the beginning, but the app was more about offering an easy way for creators to create things. Okay. Initially, TikTok or ByteDance started as a news app, quickly became a video sharing app, short-term videos, alternative to Meta, alternative to YouTube, etc. It was very popular in China before it was shut down. By the way, the news application was shut down by the CCP. I'll go into that in more detail, but CCP is not a fan of ByteDance. Let me tell you right now. That's the first thing you need to know. And then this thing exploded in the US. Okay, absolutely exploded. And look, you know, look at the TikTok demographics here. Okay, and if you look at the TikTok demographics, as you can see here, I mean, you're talking about this is a young people's app. 25% of the users are under 20 years old. You know, more Gen Z than Instagram. It's again, the creators are young. They're between 18 and 24. Mostly female. Okay, almost 60% female of the users. Uh, you know, US by far, obviously now is the largest audience for TikTok because of the crackdown in China. So, and it's, by the way, just like when Facebook first came out, young people, but it's getting older. More older people are going on TikTok. Okay, and over time, the same thing is going to happen that with all these other apps. Okay, older people are going to start using it, and then the young people will go to something else. That's the reality of social media. So, I mean, with those demographics, okay, and the you understand who's using this age wise, right? Mainly young people. Mainly young people are creating it. Mainly young people are watching it. And you know, as I discussed, the origins are very familiar of our social media, Facebook, all of these things, all started kind of the same way, Instagram. So, given that reality, why on earth uh, are the morons in Washington calling TikTok a national security threat? And why are they trying to ban it? Doesn't make any sense. Okay, and it has nothing. They can't ban it because it's addicting. So they're using this thing national security threat. It makes no sense because if they were going to ban it, all the talk and rhetoric is about how addicting it is and this and that, it's causing problems. Well, if they're going to use that reasoning, they would have to ban Instagram, YouTube, all these other apps, but they're not going to do that. They're saying it's a national security threat, and this is where we're going to get into the weeds here, folks. Because look, the reality is TikTok's an app. You can choose to watch it or not. You can download it or not. You can watch it or delete it. It's freedom of choice. Again, if you believe in freedom, if you believe in free speech, you should not be against this TikTok app. Okay, but why do you think the Congress wants to ban TikTok or force ByteDance to sell it? Why? Why does the White House support this? A lot of this doesn't make sense. Could it be something more sinister than what they're saying? about the Congress and the White House, who controls the Congress and the White House, what they're being manipulated, what they're being told. Okay, here we go. I mean, the CCP, this Xi Jinping, I'll tell you right now, he hates the technology oligarchs. Doesn't hate the technology, but he hates the oligarchs. Why? Because they become popular. They're cult figures. Remember, China is a controlled state, and you don't want to have popular people. You want to have Xi Jinping and the CCP. They want to have control over everything. Okay, and look back what has happened. So you have a history of this. Jack Ma, okay, Alibaba was a cult hero. He disappeared. Almost a year he disappeared. No one knew where he was. He was in some kind of prison re-education camp. That's where he was. And when he appeared, he was very calm. They put him in his place. CCP destroyed probably one of the most popular apps in history, okay, in terms of downloads, called Didi. By the way, Didi was my favorite app. Didi is it's the Uber of China. Absolutely one of the most fabulous apps I've ever used. And why did he destroy Didi? It became too influential because it became more than just a ride-sharing app for the people of China. It became a communication, all of this. So they destroyed Didi. They destroyed Jack Ma. And today, those were done when the economy was fairly strong. But today, the Chinese economy is in the toilet. Okay, they can't outwardly destroy another tech executive or force them to fire people. Okay, they can't do that. The young people are already at 25% out of work. They got big problems in China. But they must squash ByteDance. ByteDance is way too influential in China. They've been cracking down on ByteDance from the day it started as a news app. And then as a video sharing app, they crack down on it. As you've heard before, the stuff that they share in the US, you can't share in China. That's CCP. Okay, so if you want to really crush ByteDance, you can't really crush it in China. You got to crush it where they make all their money, where they're most popular. That's the US. And how do you do that? Well, you call on your friends. You call on your Congress friends. You call on the White House to do the dirty work for you. It sounds crazy, but man, there's so much coming out these days, as we've seen, influence peddling, all of this nonsense. It's not out of the woodwork, okay? Because the CEO and the founder of TikTok, Zhang, he lives in Singapore. He's not going back to China. He's scared. He doesn't want to go to a re-education camp like Jack Ma. So going back again, the CCP using its influence in the U.S. government. And let me tell you, folks, they have more influence in the U.S. government than they do on TikTok. But they need to destroy the value of this company because they want to crush Zhang and his popularity. Okay, and at the end of the day, believe it or not, the CCP doesn't give a rat's ass about the algo. What do they care about the data of 20-year-olds? What do they care? They're going to influence 20-year-olds? Does anyone influence a 20-year-old? Can a parent influence a 20-year-old? Maybe they could try to influence them as voters, but it's ridiculous because a large majority of 20-year-olds don't even vote. That's historic. Young people historically don't even go out to vote. And I can tell you this year in this voting season, they're not going to be voting because of all the nonsense going on. So why waste your time? Again, look at this. Take a step back. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. But what makes sense is the U.S. Congress and the White House to get rid of the number one competitor of Meta and YouTube, Google and Facebook and Zuckerberg. That makes sense. Okay, but if that doesn't, why did numerous Congress people, and this is on the record, buy Meta options in stock a week before they banned TikTok? If you look at the amount of money that Zuckerberg and Google put into election, it's all making sense. It's all making sense. I don't think TikTok, as you could probably tell, I don't think TikTok should be banned. I need you to ask the politicians why they want to ban TikTok. And don't if they start telling you about addiction, then they blow it in their face, because all these social media apps are addicting. If they tell you about its national security, ask them why. How is it national security? How is it? How is it that a for sale is going to enhance the coffers of some politically active billionaires? This is fact. This whole thing smells, folks. Whether you like TikTok or not, this whole thing smells. Because the real issue is not what they're saying. It's buried. It's a buried issue. It's a false flag operation, as I meant before. Free speech, folks, is in trouble. Because once you allow the government to make a policy to get rid of something because they don't like it, and it's too influential, you know what's next? Twitter. You could bet your bottom dollar Twitter's going next. Now, I don't condone these addicting algos, because obviously I believe in freedom. I believe that you can either watch something or not. No one's forcing you to be on social media. You make a positive choice to do that. And if some people are addicted to it, they're addicted to it. Same reason people are addicted to drugs, alcohol. Look, you got to get off of it. If there's a problem, get off of it. But this is all about freedom. This is all about a false flag. This is all about the corruption of Congress and the White House. They're the ones being manipulated and influenced by, they're worried about the young people being influenced by China. We have our politicians being influenced by Beijing, because Beijing wants to crush ByteDance. Don't believe anything else. That's the reality. Do your own homework, like I do. Do your own homework. Check it out. Read the history of this app. Read what Xi Jinping has done to the tech oligarchs, and what they call the tech oligarchs. He's crushed them. If they don't give in, he crushes them. And he crushed ByteDance in China. And he wants to crush ByteDance in the US. He wants to crush Zhang. He wants to put him in jail, put him in a re-education camp. That's the reality. So this has nothing to do with the S&P or inflation. What it has to do is, you're an American. You should be against this TikTok ban, 100% against it. But the influence of China in our government is way too great. It sounds crazy, it sounds nuts, but this is a reality in my mind. So listen, like it, pass it on. I think, as you can tell, it's a different view, but we should be very scared. We should be against this type of, sanctions against something that's free, something that's anyone could get, that no one's forcing us to get. Right. And again, I don't know what you can do at this point, but man, it is really bad. And I hope it doesn't happen. Adios.